Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and call the January 6th, 2025 meeting of Planning and Zoning Mexico Beach to order. The first item of business, you have some swearing in, and I believe that's all been taken care of.
And you said that.
It is.
All right.
Okay, I just need to call roll.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Kasagi is absent. Mr. Cox,
Here.
Mr. Crease,
Here.
Mr. Elzey,
Here.
Mr. Henderson,
Here.
Mr. Kerrigan.
Here. All right, moving to item number 3, our consent agenda. We have 4 different sets of minutes. Mr. Attorney, do we need to handle each of those separately?
You can put them all together.
Okay. All right, has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes for the September 9 P and Z workshop, the September 9 P and Z meeting, the October 7 P and Z meeting, and the December 2 P and Z meeting?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Any questions or corrections?
No.
And if not, would someone like to make a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Have a motion?
Second.
Second, I think Larry was first. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, the minutes are approved as written. Thank you. Okay, the next item of business is 111 38th Street setback variance request. Laura, do you have something to present on this?
Good evening. This is a request, as you recall, that came before you on December 2nd regarding...
Question real quick, is this another quasi-judicial, blah, blah, blah?
Yes, but I was just going to mention that this item has been requested to be tabled to the February meeting, so there will be no discussion on it tonight.
Excuse me.
So if you don't want to make a motion to table it, then we won't have a won't need the quasi-judicial imposed.
Say that again?
You won't have to go through the disclosures and all that at this meeting. You can wait till the next meeting to do any disclosures that have to be made.
So do we need a motion?
A motion to
make that
table
happen?
it.
To the date certain, so they don't have to re-advertise.
Okay. And what is that date?
February, what is the date for the planning? P&Z in February?
It will be February the 3rd.
Okay.
Before we do, am I gonna get more information before that date? What's the reason for tabling it?
So the reason for tabling was because the applicant requested the additional time to address the concerns that the city council had made in December regarding the item that came before them at that time. And they are in current discussions with the property owner to the north of the site that owns only 6 feet strip worth of property, and how they can help and handle the setback, and whether or not they can move the house on the lot so that they're only asking for 1 setback variance and not on each side, and so they just needed more time to figure all that out.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion to move the
Table
this
the
item until the February the 3rd meeting. Would someone like to make that motion?
I make a motion, we table the agenda item to February 3rd.
All right, we have a motion. Second, please.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Debbie, if you were looking, that was Steve that made the motion
Okay.
and Rock that seconded. Okay, that's been rescheduled. Okay, the next item. And Laura, stick around. 2902 Highway 98 Development Order.
Yes,
This is also a quasi-judicial.
yes.
So you'll need to make any disclosures from the commission, whether anyone has had communications with the applicant prior to the meeting, if anyone has had then you'd have to disclose it on the record. And if not, then I would ask that anyone who's going to speak be sworn in by the city clerk before we get into the substance.
So,
Yes,
why
sir.
would this be quasi-judicial? What's the
Well,
compelling
any
reason for that?
development application is quasi.
Even a preliminary, okay.
It's site-specific, so it's not creating legislation, which is a legislative hearing. It's specific to a piece of property.
So, anybody have any discussions with the applicant? If not, Madam Clerk, could you swear in anyone who wants to speak on this item? Go ahead, Laura. Anyone else? Need it?
All right, you just stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
All right, proceed.
Yes, so this is an application for a mixed-use development at 2902 US Highway 98, which is between 30th Street and 29th Street on the north side of Highway 98. The applicant submitted an application that indicated the structure would be 2 stories and consisting of 1 residential unit on the top floor and an area for office below, and with some rooftop area for also occupation of outside activities. The parcel is 0.53 acres, so about a half an acre. There was a restaurant on it prior to Hurricane Michael anyway. I will say that the process here regarding the application for the development order has been made us aware of how we do need to make some improvements in the process and how that plays out through the land development regulations and the criteria there. It was a little confusing in the beginning, and we were receiving multiple iterations of architectural drawings where, as a planner, we don't look at architectural drawings, we look at the site plan and the corresponding documentation. So there were different submissions of different documents, and I think they got confused in different reviews. And I will concede that the set of plans I reviewed to prepare this report on January 2nd was not the most recent set, so I believe the applicant will have some commentary on how some of those points that I made in the report might be satisfied. I only got the rebuttal from the applicant this morning, so I have not had a chance to totally review and go through it. But I will say that I have noticed that the site analysis is based on the 0.53 acres and looks at the new development that is being proposed, whereas if the parcel is going to stay 1 unit, 1 piece, and there's 2 different structures on it, we need the analysis of all of that together so we can look at the impervious surface ratios and the parking ratios accordingly to all of the development, not just the new development. So I did notice that even with the new submittal, the new information, they're still evaluating that what I would call the western portion here, where they're not looking at this piece that abuts 29th Street as part of the analysis. So the simple solution here is to take those that 1 parcel and make them 2, so that when we're looking at setbacks and impervious surface and the other requirements we have in the land development regulations, we can look at that portion of the 0.53 acres accordingly, instead of trying to assemble the 2 developments and calculate all of that together. So I'll let the applicant talk about that and see what concerns they might have in separating those 2 parcels. So I know there were some engineering comments also that were reviewed in mid-December. I know that if there are comments to those points tonight, I won't be able to address those. So regardless of how we decide to move forward, I do recommend that we table this until all of the issues are satisfied accordingly between engineering and planning. We do have some floodplain information that everything looks good, so there's no concerns there with floodplain. But I would request that we table this to a date certain, so again, the applicant doesn't have to re-advertise the hearing.
Okay, so we have a recommendation from you to table it, and you'd like to speak?
If I could, please, thank you.
You have the right to cross-examine.
Appreciate that, thank you very much. Good evening, my name is Rick Moore. I am one of your neighbors here in Mexico Beach. My wife and I have had a home here for 20 years, and it's on 34th Street on the south side of the road. So we spend a lot of time here, and as I've transitioned into what I hope is a successful retirement, we spend over half our time here. We're usually here Wednesday through Sunday, and I'm back in the office in Tallahassee Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So my version of retirement is this fractional release. I'm a professional engineer. I own a civil engineering, surveying, landscape architecture firm based in Tallahassee, Moore Bass Consulting. We have offices in Tallahassee and Atlanta. So I have a body of expertise as it relates to the quasi-judicial proceeding, a body of expertise, and been qualified as an expert witness in land use, in drainage, in transportation, and things related to civil engineering and surveying. I'm not here tonight in an official capacity as a professional engineer, but as a guy who saw a piece of property for sale that contained the old Beach Pizza development and inquired with Zach Childs and said, hey, see anything's for sale, tell me the story, and he did. And the ending of the story was that my wife and I ended up purchasing that L-shaped piece of property. Had historically been 3 individual lots. The owners immediately prior to our acquiring the property consolidated them and converted them into a single commercial property. So today we are underway with a remodeling effort on the old Beach Pizza building. And it is being, it has all of the necessary permits for the remodel, and it's moving forward. And we moved forward on that remodel under an ordinance it's called ordinance number 775, and I'll just give this to you if it's okay, if you can just enter it into the record of conversation. But it's essentially an exemption that the folks in the leadership of Mexico Beach imposed for projects that were going to remodel that were damaged by the hurricane. And so the exemptions that were offered in that ordinance 775 was that the remodel work on that one little area where the Beach Pizza was exempt from a site plan approval process, that you basically were exempted for your parking, your setbacks, your building footprint. You just were kind of given some leeway to make a capital investment back into the community to rebuild an asset that was here before the storm. So that project's been percolating for about a year, and Moses Medina from Crest Construction is my contractor. He's done a great job. Give him high marks if anybody's ever looking for a contractor. Then I believed that we would be able to put an outpost office of Moore Bass Consulting in Mexico Beach. We looked for office property, were unable to find any vacancies. So we got the bright idea on the 2 vacant elements, the pieces that are right next to Ace. They front on 98 and run back 2 lots deep until you hit the mini warehouses. That we would build a building that was a 2,000 square foot first floor footprint that's just wide open. It could be either commercial, retail, or office, depending on what the utility of the space was. And because we were going to put so much investment in the first level footprint, and we really didn't want to do retail or office on a second floor, I saw that Zach had his real estate office on the first floor and had an apartment on the second floor for a while. The former city manager, I think, may have been occupying the second floor. So we said, shoot, let's just go ahead and do 2,000 square feet of a single unit, 3-bedroom, 3-bath unit on the second floor. So if you go to a place like Seaside or some of the little coastal communities, they refer to it as retail over, residential over retail, that you have, you know, you present to the pedestrian public at the ground level, and then you make people who want to go into their residential unit either go up an elevator or climb stairs. We put the residential above. And because they're residential fed out to what will be a commercial parking lot, essentially, we put a rooftop gathering spot upstairs. So we made the roof, have designed the roof of the building so that it's tiled and flat, so that somebody inside the residential can just go up and see the outside and grill a hot dog or a hamburger without going outdoors into what was the more commercial type space. So that was the bright idea that brought us to here. My initial filing, and your staff has been great. I mean, they've been very patient with us. I'm telling you, I think I'm the culprit here in the communications problem. Because the first element was exempt under that ordinance, we only made our application to consider everything outside that element. So we looked like we were only asking for permission on the 2 lots that were over by Al's Ace Hardware. And then we got an early comment that said, look, you can't send us an application on only a portion of your land. You need to expand your application to include all 0.53 acres. And so our second submittal did all of that. And then we went back and we just basically abandoned the exemptions that we believe we were entitled to over here and just included it because we weren't trying to make waves, we were just trying to get done. We were just trying to get the spade in the ground and get busy working. So our second filing wraps all the property. It happens to wrap all of the impervious from the Beach Pizza site. It meets all of the objective criteria of the regulations. Stormwater works. There were some good questions and some clarification that we need to provide for the engineer, but the swales and the percolation all work. It's a simple project from our perspective. It's just a building with some parking area. We intend to do it in kind of an elevated finish. We want to put pavers down in the parking lot rather than asphalt or concrete. I mean, we really are trying to kind of do something that is pleasant and nice and not just bare minimums to, for things. And that's our position. We're really seeking eventually a building permit so that Moses can get started with what he estimates to be about a 12-month construction process. 8 months?
12 and 14.
Oh, I thought it was 8 to 12, but I tried. I did the best I can. And so we're just here tonight to try to flesh out if it's a good project from your perspective as far as zoning and planning and the concept, if it's good, we can go back and tweak or adjust or respond to each of the questions that staff has. If there are other bugs in the request, I sure would love to hear them from you guys so that we can cure or improve or bring you guys the best plan for the community. We love this place. We're going to be here long term. It's going to be a family asset. We just got to get through this maze right now of regulatory process so we can go over. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Sure.
I don't have any comments right now.
You don't have any? Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, the provision that you cited in that ordinance, that was for applications submitted before October 26th of 2023.
We were underway prior to on the pizza place prior to that date.
On that part of the property.
That's correct. That's the only piece that we exempted from our initial application because we were already underway with a permitted redevelopment. So we focused our acreage and size and on the undeveloped portion of the property. But since then, we've gone back and recaptured in our resubmittal. We just went ahead without fussing, just added in all of the land from the Beach Pizza place so that it's a single lot with a single application with multiple uses on the same lot. So we'll own all the buildings on the property. We don't see a need to subdivide the property from any use that we intend to make of the property. We're comfortable with the mixed-use building in the back and the restaurant being owned by the same people, which is us.
So I assume what you're saying is that it's your position because you submitted the original application for the pizza place before October 26th of 23, that allows you to go through the streamlined process?
Only as it relates to the pizza place. We go through, I think, the full tilt regulatory approach on the lots where we're proposing the new improvements. And that's what our submittal says, that we're meeting all of those objective criteria.
Okay. So what you gave for the record just was that streamlined procedures.
Only as it related to the Beach Pizza building, the restaurant, the existing restaurant, yes, sir.
And Laura, your recommendation was to table this until a future date when more of these issues could be addressed, since it,
Yeah, I think I'm still confused as to how we're calculating this entire project. It sounds like there's some information here that was presented tonight that I wasn't aware of, and it sounds to me like the applicant, Mr. Moore, was possibly thinking that this could fall under the ordinance 775.
No, just only,
So, but I don't know that ordinance, and I have to look at it, exempted a development order. It just said you could rebuild what you had prior to the storm.
That's correct. There were
So-
criteria within that ordinance that you had to meet each of those criteria
Right.
to fall under.
So I still think you were
Streamlined
supposed to get a development order, and I'm not sure if that happened for the pizza,
it did not. We filed for, obtained a remodel permit and.
for an existing
To
structure.
the existing structure
Okay.
that's there. So when we were applying to build the building in the back, this office commercial, we isolated our ask just to those two-thirds. We ignored the restaurant because it was already permitted and underway. And then staff requested that we revise our application to include, and so we did. And we had the most current set of plans that you have includes all of the impervious area and whatnot that is
For the
on
0.53
pizza-
acres,
The pizza place, yes, ma'am.
including,
Yes, ma'am.
And so we'll need time to review all that.
well, not only that, but engineering needs time. I mean, those comments need to be addressed before I feel comfortable approving, in any condition, your recommendation to the city council.
So your recommendation is to table it
Yes.
to February the 3rd,
That's fine, as long as we can get everything resolved by then.
so they don't have to read.
I would have a question, and we don't need to hash it out here, but why wouldn't you subdivide and have two parcels so that we're looking at a development order for one parcel and not a part of a parcel?
Yeah, so the utilities design that we have utilities that don't stay on each individual parcel necessarily under the current design. I have a water service on 30th Street that runs across the frontage that runs over and serves the pizza place.
Through the parcel.
Through the parcel, the front of the parcel over to the pizza place. We have a dumpster on the pizza place that could be used for any of the garbage on any of the other two. I mean, I have elements of the design.
Sure, that's not overcomable. We can talk
Yeah,
outside, we
yeah.
don't need to get into the details.
Thank you.
So you have a recommendation
just a question, is the restaurant gonna stay a restaurant?
It will, yes, sir.
Okay, just curious, all right. He had a, so I'm sorry.
Laura, just a question. I mean, I know you're going to table this, but looking through everything, you had all the questions in here that need to be answered. The one that was in here, actually, that I looked at and went back through looking at all the zoning, was for the office space. That's not listed here. The office space is basically listed under tourist mixed use and not under this particular category. Looking through everything else, is that going to be an issue coming up here again?
So it doesn't prohibit an office, it just doesn't list it as allowable, which is why I don't like those lists, because then things get,
Yeah, with all the uses, I didn't see a conflict just reading.
right,
through
I don't
here.
see a conflict. The reason why we want to know whether it's an office or retail is because the parking requirements are going to be different.
They're the same.
Okay.
Per square foot, they're the same, I think. In your code, I think we provide the same parking ratio, whether it's retail. We built with flexibility. We're not smart enough to know exactly what the market will
Well,
hold.
there,
But we do have the ability, we'd like the ability to do commercial or office. And the reason we felt comfortable with the office request were the real estate offices that exist up and down 98 in the same zoning category. In that tourist commercial zoning category, it didn't seem like it was a complete misfit from that
so
perspective.
no restaurant is anticipated in that space.
Not in that space,
Okay.
because the restaurant will be up and running in that front space there.
And so that's why the narrative is important that's submitted with the development order, which is something that was lacking, and Moses said he would work on that also.
I don't have a question, I have a comment, because Mr. Moore was asking when he first started, before he went further, wanted to see if there was any issues that we had with this project, other than what those questions were. I think this is a fantastic idea with some mixed use. It answers a lot of the questions that people have, I say people, that I keep hearing about with concerns about space up and down that corridor. So I hope that going forward that we're able to resolve whatever so that this project can come to fruition within 8 to 12 months and not 12 to 14 months. Good job.
All right, so we need a motion to table 2902 Highway 98 Development Order until the February 3rd P and Z meeting.
Will that give everybody enough time?
Yep. I think we can turn around comments very fast. I just want to make sure that if there is a mechanism to make sure we don't accidentally create more confusion by a third submittal, and that we get everybody able to look at the correct version, that version control is a little bit of an issue, and I just want to be as helpful as I can in getting that done. But yeah, that works for us.
Sounds like we're both willing. Okay, we're looking for a motion to table 2902 Highway 98 Development Order.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Lee's made a motion.
Second.
Second. Steve, second. All in favor? Everyone's in favor. That is approved to table to February the 3rd. And that is all the business before us tonight. I'd like a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to
Is there a
Thank you.
best way to
This week is adjourned. See you February the 3rd.
So typically everything comes to me
Yeah, we-
from